Hello, and today we'll continue with the newest update of Hearts of Amethyst. Darkness enveloped my whole consciousness. Once more I found myself in a pool of nothingness with no physical body to call my own. I could hear many voices all over the void, whispering to me, calling me, taunting me. I couldn't help but wonder if any of this was real, or if it was just my fucked up brain playing tricks on me in my sleep. As of late, I've been able to retain more and more details about these dreams of mine. Each time the voice in my head keeps getting louder and louder, but before it can reach me, I wake up. It scared me to think that this time it would actually catch me, but it never does. Even so, every fiber of my being was on high alert, ready for whatever had to happen. Come to pay me a visit yet again? Always a goody two-shoes, aren't you? Tell me, what will you accomplish in life if you only think about others? Isn't being selfish a part of a mortal's nature? What do you want from me? As I asked that, the eerie voice laughed maniacally, which caused a stinging pain to spread throughout my entire being. Shut up, please stop. I pleaded, but nothing happened. The pain never ceased, and the taunting continued. Wave after wave of excruciating pain was through me. I couldn't tell what was happening anymore, and I'm sure that if I had a body, it would be revolting and thrashing around. How is this possible? Why am I feeling this much pain in a dream? You are a fool. Nothing but a pawn in a much bigger game. Just then, when I was on the brink of madness, a white light shined right over the void, turning all that darkness into something more pure and soothing. I no longer felt pain, and the aches of my soul felt meaningless. And my consciousness started to fade. The last thing I saw was a silhouette of Mom. I woke up in a cold sweat. I was drenched in it, actually. My palms were shaky and the tears would not stop running down my cheeks. What the actual fuck was that? I never had such a vivid dream before. What I felt, what I saw. Was any of that real? Man, what is wrong with me lately? I walked my templates, trying to catch my bearings. The room was very dark, with the only thing illuminating it being the dim light of dawn coming through the window. I've only been within the walls of this castle for 2 days, and so far I've had 2 of these horrible nightmares. I can barely sleep anymore. I don't think I'll last the other 5 days we will be staying here if things don't change. I looked down at my pillow covered up in sweat, and I cringed at the thought of going back to sleep. Maybe I could find something to entertain myself with. A bath is always an option, I suppose. Yeah, let's do that. After one long and very relaxing bath, I decided to just wander around the halls of the castle. Eventually, the mindless walking took me to a stone bench under a tree in the castle's gardens. I yawned, feeling the lack of sleep finally getting the upper hand of me. Goddesses, was I sleepy and unoccupied. Even so, I really didn't want to go back to bed as that dream shook me to my core. So I tried to come up with a plan to entertain myself, and after a few minutes of thinking, I decided that the best option would be to... Okay, so we're going to spend time with one of the three. We got to spend time with the 3 characters. So this would be with Roderick, in the training grounds. Stopping in the higher distance would be with Almond, and continue the investigation at the library would be with Carlos. I'll go with Almond first. Go stop in the higher districts. When I'm thinking about it, I didn't get to see much of the markets as I was busy worrying about the missing. Maybe going there could help me relax. Yeah, I'll get myself something nice and perhaps eat at one of the fancy restaurants. I gotta spend my salary somehow. The kid insisted on paying me 2 silver answers a week, even though I clearly didn't need it. But you won't hear me complain about it. So with that in mind, I stood up from the stone beds, cracked the bones on my back, and then headed for the main gates. Today Ellie goes to town. Same as last week, the streets were packing with all sorts of people. Many kinds of vendors had set their stalls all over the streets, while the fancier shops turned their signs from closed to open. I wandered around aimlessly as I browsed through the vast selection of items. There were a few things that caught my attention, for example, about some herbs that smelled amazing. I was definitely planning to draw myself a bath with those. I also bought a fancy-looking pen, some cloth for Zach, a rabbit's foot, and some lapone, which I decided to eat under the shade of a tree. So I made my way there. Damn, the morning heat escalated faster than I expected, and now I'm sweating buckets. I could really use a dip, but people here don't seem like the type to just take off their clothes and go bathe themselves on the lake. I say really, it's a fairly common activity in the lower city. Suddenly, a rush of nostalgia and homesickness hit me. It's been only a couple of days since I last went there, but now I feel like I belong to a whole different world. Not in the sense of I'm better than them, of course not. Those are my people. It's more in the sense of those of the old days will never come back, as I feel like I've reached a turning point in my life. Besides, I can't redo the mistakes that I've made, and that has been eating away at the back of my brain. Fuck, I was supposed to come here to relax, and now I'm being a depressive asshole as usual. Get a grip, man. I mentally punched myself, and I wanted to ruin my day of relaxation with unnecessary thoughts. But then, my world went dark. It was so sudden that it made me feel dizzy and lost. What was happening? Was that an attack? Was I getting abducted? As my mind was racing, I noticed the softness of someone's hands on my face and the heat of the person's breath on my ear. Guess who? As I heard this voice, all the tension in my body quickly vanished, and the fear was soon replaced with annoyance. I tried to elbow his groin, but he dodged the incoming hit with ease, never dropping his hands from my face. No cheating. Man, I swear to the goddesses, this one's going for the face. And he gets it right. As Will stopped covering my eyes, it took me a while to properly get used to the change of lighting. Once my eyes adjusted, the first thing I saw was a wolf's dumb face right to my left as he leaned over my shoulder. And now your price. He leaned forward over my cheek, but before he could kiss it, I pushed his face away. Back off, lover boy. Oh, it's just a little kissy. Almond. Okay, jeez, mate. You ain't fun. We're in public. Oh, so if we weren't... I'll give you one last chance to start this conversation as a normal person. Almond chuckled at my reaction and then moved to sit to my right, jumping over the bench in an over-dramatic and unnecessary fashion. So, what are you up to, mate? Doing some shopping? Yeah, I had a bad dream this morning and wanted to unwind a little. It's nothing, don't worry about it. Putting up a fake smile, I tried to be reassuring so he would drop the topic. I really didn't feel like discussing my dreams right now. What about you? What are you doing here? At first it looked like he really wanted to ask about what had me down, but he noticed my silent play and moved on. Nothing much really. I was getting some feathers from my arrows. Didn't expect to bump into you here of all places. Yeah, what are the chances, right? With a city this big, and you being so small, it must be fate. Don't call me small. Funny that's the part that caught your attention. My cheeks turned to a very deep shade of red as Almond continued with his vicious flirting. Goddesses, why does he have to be so handsome? Okay, I think I should go. Wait, sorry mate. I'll tone it down, Knox. Promise. Make it till we have a deal. We shall laugh together, setting a better mood than the weird flirty thing that he wanted it to be. Although I was kind of liking it, and that comment shall never see the light of day. So, what you got there? Oh, nothing much, some herbs, cloth, a fancy pen, and a rabbit's foot. Never expected you to be superstitious. I'm not. I just thought it was cute. Now that's a side of you I hadn't seen. You like cute stuff? Do I like cute stuff? I mean, I don't really mind them, as this was more of a compulsive purchase than anything. Not really, I just wanted a souvenir. Ah, same. I would have bought you a ribbon and a cute dress. I raised one eyebrow at the wolf, but he just laughed nervously as he looked away. Never mind that, it was just a joke, mate. Uh-huh. Anyway, how about we play a game? The wolf's cheeks turned to a cute pinkish red while he scratched the back of his neck nervously. He was clearly trying to change the subject. I decided to not dig deeper into Alma's weird kinks and agreed to play whatever game he had in mind. She'll hit me. Alright, so rules are simple. You gotta pick someone among the crowd and say a random emotion at the same time. Whoever manages to guess what that person is feeling gets a point. We're going until one of us gets 3 points. Sounds good, mate? That has to be the weirdest game I've ever heard about. You in, though? I mean, I have nothing better to do. Although, how am I supposed to know what they're feeling? It's the neat part. You don't. Just guess. It'll be fun, mate. If you say so. We bet at something? I like what you're implying there, mate. What you got in mind? Well, I was thinking, how about the loser has to do whatever the winner wants? Just once, though. Don't go crazy. Alright, bet. He extended his hand and I shook it, sealing the deal. I was really hoping I didn't end up regretting this. So I spied with my little eye. That old lady over there. What do you think of her? Armand pointed to a sweet old lady with way too much makeup on her. She was holding herself with a cane as she browsed through a selection of different herbs. That old lady was. Since she's tired, the cane, the hump, the age. That's a good guess, yeah. First thing you think when you see an old person would be that they're tired. But you're wrong. She's horny. The fuck? Just look for a second. I dare he said, and soon enough a young lad approached the lady and gave her a passionate kiss on the lips. Ew, gross, man. Heh, looks like Granny's going down to town tonight. How can you even guess that? She was looking at cinnamon and ginger, two of the most common aphrodisiac herbs known. Besides, she had this look in her eye. What does that mean? Anyway, ready for round 2? Not ready for, but sure. Let's do it. I'll put this time, though. I don't trust you now. I said accusingly, but he just raised his hands and smirked. I got nothing under my sleeves. Don't even have them. Rolling my eyes at the wolf, I turned towards the crowd, squinting my eyes as tried to focus on picking someone. There must be at least 100 people in the market at the moment, but nobody caught my attention in the slightest. They were all just minding their own business, not really showing any observable emotion. As I was thinking that, I spotted a few kids running around while their mother scolded them. The two kids were going under the stalls, bumping into people, and hitting each other with sticks. Her, the mom with the two kids, over there she is. Anyway, so frustrated. Well, given how they are not even listening to her, she's got to be pretty frustrated with herself and those little monsters. I mean, look at them. They're a menace. Yeah, I totally see it, mate. Those two are out of control. She's got to be very frustrated because she can't get them to listen, yeah? Yeah. Alma nodded and smiled back at me. See how it's not so hard? You totally got this point. Our game's not done. We gotta pick someone else. Wanna do it, mate? Sure, let me think. Once more, I directed my gaze towards the crowd. Oddly enough, I became more competitive about this silly game than I was willing to give it credit for. So I decided to make it harder for him. Yeah, that guy by the bakery. I pointed at an elegant middle-aged fella who was currently reading a book as he chilled with a cup of coffee in his hand. He seemed like a regal gentleman by the way he was behaving, although his eyes looked a little tired or more so relaxed. He also appeared to be very immersed in his reading, as he wasn't paying attention to anything that was happening around him. You sure? That's a tough one, mate. So I am, or are you scared? No, I just don't want you to complain when you lose. Not gonna happen. We'll see. So, tell me, mate, what's that fella going through? I want Ellie focused. That man was clearly... oh, maybe he's sleepy. I don't know. Sleepy. Looks like he could fall asleep at any second. That's why he's drinking coffee, because he's trying to stay awake to finish his book. Alma looked at the man intensely. Lewis had his hand on his chin and a very serious expression, both his eyes drilling holes into the man's skull. He was staring so vividly at him that I could swear Alma's eyes were glowing a bit. But it was probably my imagination. He's heartbroken. Huh? You're crazy. Look at him. He's really confident. He's really content. Out of the blue, the man put the book down on the table, and soon a single tear ran down his left cheek. It was clear that the man was trying to hold them, as he didn't want to cause a scene. Damn, that was a complete 180 in a split second. How do you know? Don't give me that bullshit you pulled the granted. There's no way you could have known just by looking at him. Oh, well, Almond. I crossed my arms and looked at him with squinted eyes. He was definitely hiding something from me. Spell. Okay, don't get like that, mate. It was just a little soul magic. No need to get your feathers all ruffled. Aha, I knew you were cheating. Your points don't count then, you cheater. Okay, fair enough. I'll give you the win then. But I didn't win. I didn't get the 3 points either. But I considered it a participation award then. He offered an apologetic smile, and I couldn't help but smile back. He's such a dumbass. So, what do you want me to do? I'm all yours, mate. Oh, that totally slipped my mind. I've forgotten entirely about the dumb bet. Well, as I tried to come up with something embarrassing for him to do, a better idea came to me. I want you to teach me about what you were doing, soul magic. Oh, is that all, mate? You sure you don't want a kiss or something more? The kid seemed legitimately disappointed at my answer, but I was really curious about what soul magic entailed and what could be done with it. Nope, I'm good. I could have just explained it to you without the bet. Well, that's what I want. So spit it out. It's a bit complicated. I ain't no teacher, but still I'll give it a shot. Soul magic is the hardest type of magic to master for one reason mainly. We have no fucking clue what a soul actually is. There are many theories, but aside from what the church has said, scholars don't waste their time on the topic because it's very abstract. His soul magic ended up being neglected. But don't let that fool you, mate. It's very useful if you know how to use it. So what can it do? Well, for what I know, soul magic can be all can both alter your soul and the others. For me, the soul is what makes us what we are. Emotions, dreams, the perception of reality, our thoughts, etc. All that comes from the soul. Yeah, and someone like me, for example, can perceive people's feelings more easily. That's what you just saw me do. I also specialize in altering emotions. For me, it's very easy to make someone feel sadness or glee, strong emotions. It only lasts for a few seconds, but by then they've given me plenty of opportunities to either put an arrow through their necks or get what I want from them. Huh? Sounds very useful. Rather than useful, I would call it resourceful. It gives you an edge over the others. You get it, mate? I do, I guess. Is that all? Well, I sometimes use it to get on someone's pants. Get them into that horny mood, you know? Almost has a deathless smirk on his face, and I couldn't help but blush at the thought. But then it occurred to me. Wait, you asshole. You used that trick when we first met in the shooting range. The day you almost got into my pants. Literally. I knew it wasn't normal for me to feel so horny all of a sudden. Wow, I did, but I felt bad. So I've never done it again. I promise, mate. Gosh, he's such an idiot. I'm gonna look very sorry for what he's done, and well, he's been winning me over in the past few months, so I guess it's not the end of the world. Why, whatever. Water under the bridge. But I mean it, you better not try that stuff again. Got it? Yeah, mate, I promise I won't. Okay, anything else I should know about soul magic? Yeah, those are all the uses I give it. There are theories mostly, but as I said, it's the most underrated type of magic. Some people say it can be used to take away a person's will to live. But I've never seen someone so extreme. Oh boy, that's intense. Yeah, tell me about it. I'm gonna turn his gaze at the sky and then face palm himself. Sit, man, I gotta go. The wolf stood up from the bench in a hurry and took the bag that he had brought with him. I'll see you around. I got stuff to do. Alright, take care, man. The wolf gave me one last smile and a wave before he set off into the crowd. I, on the other hand, remained there, finishing my half-melted apple. Okay, I'm gonna go back and I'll go this this outro a little later. Anyway, so there's still Wadrick and Ecology. So that was a fun little part with Almond, the whole game. Even though he was cheating and using the soul magic. So apparently the soul magic can alter people's emotions and intentions. And that was also how he got Ellie to be all horny when they were at the crossbow practice early in the story. He made him kind of horny. Almond did that on purpose. So you know what? It has been ages since I last trained. I felt like it felt like forever since I had that duel with Eddie, and I didn't want to get rusty. Besides, what better place to train than the Royal Castle's barracks? I'm sure the exercise will help me keep my mind off of things. Between the dreams and the stress of the looming position as a warrior advisor, I've been feeling like my head is going to explode. It's time to take these puppies for a walk. I said to myself, referring to my muscles, which have increased in mass since I started training with the sword. So, not wanting to delay any further, I stood up from the bench and walked off towards the barracks training ground. Once I made it there, though, I was not expecting to see so many people. At least half 100 men were either sparring or using dummies as their partners. Some of them were using wooden swords, but most of the men here were actually practicing with real steel. That's a hope it's edgeless steel, or else an accident is bound to happen. And yes, in case you were wondering, most of them were shirtless, so there's no lack of eye candy. In any case, I tried to stay as out of their way as possible. I wandered around the field trying to see if there were any extra wooden swords for me to train with, but so far, no luck. Actually, some of them were just practicing with their fists, so I'm guessing there must be no spears. They feet outside and leaned against one of the surrounding trees. I bent my head backwards and closed my eyes. I was starting to feel very sleepy, but the sound of plastic steel and manly grunts was somehow relaxing. So before I could notice, I dozed off. Hey, was someone there? What, you here? Please leave me be. I really need this. Wake up, what? A kick woke me up from my slumber, and I knew damn well who it was. You know, according to the fairy tale, you have to kiss the princess to wake her up, not kick her on the ass. You're not a princess, and I'm not kissing you. And I told you to read a better book. Now I can't explain what the fuck you're doing here. I noticed a few soldiers gaze our way, mostly curious looks who didn't know who I was or why I wasn't training. However, they soon looked away as they noticed Roger was involved in the matter. I was thinking about training for a bit, don't want to get rusty and all. But no spare swords, so I just took a nap. Roger looked back at the men and then back at me, then he said, Suppose you're right. Bruce says you can only train with a sword. Come, follow me, what? The wolf led me to the side of the field where no one was currently training. As I followed him, I finally noticed how dirty the night was. His hair was a complete mess, his fur was unkempt, he was sweating buckets. All signs that he's been training for a while. When did the training start? In the morning. You were asked to lead the recruits? Yes. Why so cranky? I teased and he raised his eyebrow with a exasperated expression. Because they drive me nuts, just like you. Now get ready. I nodded and then took off my own shirt, getting in the stance as I had done so many times in our past training sessions. So, what are you waiting for? Wrestling. Know how it goes. Not really, no. Why am I not surprised? I just swaggered at his comment. He sighed heavily in response. Look, it's simple. The goal is to pin your opponent to the ground. Whoever does it for 10 consecutive seconds is the victor. You expect me, a young, small fox, to pin you down? Look, size and strength are not everything. Besides, I'll go easy on you. So start complaining. But he's got a point there. He's been rough in our training sessions, but never to an extreme point. What the heck? Let's give it a try and sweat a little. Alright, here I go. Good, come at me. I took a deep breath before launching myself forward with as much strength as I could. Say whatever you want about Roderick, but his strict training regimen has boosted both my strength and my resistance by a mile. That said, clashing against this man was like running into a brick wall. Nothing can move him. Sloppy. If you're going to tackle someone, do it with your head up and your legs steady. Or else. With a swift move, Roderick tripped me with his leg, and before I could understand what was happening, I was flying over his head. I hit the ground like a potato sack, and the pain came through after. I hissed at it and gritted my teeth. Son of a... See what I mean? He said with a smug grin plastered all over his handsome face. Gus, even when he's being an asshole, is gorgeous. You call that going easy? Man, I what? One hit shouldn't be enough to put you down. Now, Gab, we're not half done yet. I knew there was no talking him out of this, so I did as he said and got up. Some bones cracked, but I guess I was alright. Remember what I told you, steady, huh? Look right, and I swear I threw myself back at him. This time I managed to struggle for a little longer, keeping myself in place. I knew for a fact he could have gotten rid of me if he wanted to, but he noticed the improvement in my form and decided to hold himself back even more. Good. Now kick my leg and try to trip me over your shoulder. You crazy? You weigh over 250 pounds, man. I told you, wrestling is not about strength. The heavier your opponents are, the harder you'll hit the ground. You just need to find the right angle and use your opponent's strength against themselves. Okay, just tell me what to do. Pull your dominant leg behind me, use it as a hook, then pull. Once you notice I lost my balance, you lean backwards and let you take me with you. Gravity will do the rest if you've done it right. Won't be easy, but at least try. I tried to do as he said, but it was no use. The wolf wasn't moving an inch. Putting through my face was getting red as tomatoes from all the effort I was putting into trying to move the man. It was ridiculous. Okay, maybe strength plays a major role. Fuck you, man. It was a good try, what? Anyway, let's go again, but this time try to use whatever means necessary. You sure? Yeah, just come at me with everything you got. Well, here goes nothing, I suppose. I took a deep breath and got into my stance again. I'm pretty sure class with him is not the smallest idea, so I needed to come up with a creative way to bring this titan down. As I was trying to come up with a plan, the wolf dashed towards me. Both his hands tried to grab me like before, but luckily I dodged him and got out of the way in time. He immediately retaliated by punching me with the back of his hand right on the snout. It didn't hurt much, but it gave him a big enough opening to jump me and pin me to the ground. Before I could do anything, I have a huge, smelly, sweaty wolf on top of me. With just one of his hands, he grabbed both of my own and held them together while using the other one to grab my neck gently. Good reflexes, but we still got a lot of work to do. There was still a chance. No, you did. Stop thinking like that, damn it. But no, Gwad, you need to stop selling yourself short. That's the problem with your mentality. Why didn't you ask to join the training? You had every right to do it, but instead you just went to the tree and dozed off. You know how weak that made you look? They will laugh at you. And it pissed me off. I didn't think about that. Of course you didn't, that's my point. You gotta start making people respect you. To do that, you need to respect yourself first. I swear I was trying to pay attention to his pep talk, but the wolf was really close to me, and it was getting to my head. So close that I could feel his warm, rapid breathing hitting against my face, and I could smell his musky scent very clearly. Gosh, it was strong. Oh no, Ellie, Jr., don't do it. It's not a good time to... Get up. It's enough for now. Wolf let go of me, settled himself back on his feet. Me, on the other hand, stayed on the floor as I tried to compose myself. Oh, come on, you barely have a scratch. Just let me catch my breath, okay? I'll be with you in a second. I turned to my side, not wanting the whole class to see the growing boner that I had at the moment. It took me just a few seconds, but under his gaze it felt like an eternity. What was I thinking getting all wound up like that? I need to get a hold of myself. Besides, I'm afraid of what the knight would do if he found out for not being a red eye, it's gotten pretty tough in the last months. The wolf said, getting me out of my own head. Then he offered me his hand, and when I took it, he boosted me up with ease. Pretty impressed at how fast you adapt. What does that mean? Why would the color of my eyes matter? Because I didn't explain it to you. You explained it a bit, but I didn't fully grasp it. Mind giving me a quick rundown? Well, I don't know much about the other uses of mana. Just explain the red eyes magic. Fine. He rolled his eyes, trying to act as if this was much of a bother, but I knew deep down he enjoyed teaching. Physical mana is easier to understand, or at least that's what the scholars say. It's a type of magic used to enhance one's body to its limit. So instead of punching me hard, you would punch me very hard, yeah? It's not only that. Yes, your muscle mass increases with that your raw strength, but it also enhances your stamina, endurance, and your resistance to pain. If you take it too far, though, you'll practically become a senseless monster. But there are other practical uses. You can close your own wounds, preventing them from bleeding out. Some train their eyes rather than their whole body, using mana to enhance their vision. Most hunters do this. So it can be done with all the other senses. It's just a matter of choosing what you want your body to be like. He will cross his arms and then looked at me, probably inquiring if I understood all he was saying. I nodded back at that gesture, smiling. By the way, where's the battle aura? I think Ruby used it on me when I first met her. Why do you think that? Well, one moment I was talking to her as usual, and the next I was about to sit my pants. Call me crazy, but I don't believe that's normal. As I told my story, the wolf couldn't help but grin back at me. Well, that's basically it. Red eyes can project an intimidating feeling to the foes surrounding them. It's quite useful in battle, as it renders enemies useless. Although it doesn't work with everyone, only with the weak-minded individuals. Roger's grin returned to his face as he was clearly making fun of me for falling on Ruby's control, but at the same time proving his point about my mentality. In any case, there's one more thing that I want to show you. Really? Matthew. Really? What's Matthew? Young Lincoln soldier looked up at the mention of his name. The sword. The young man nodded and then threw one wooden sword at the wolf. Strength mana can be transmitted in small portions to other objects, although it's extremely difficult to do so, and not many people can master such a skill. Now, look at this tree. Without a second thought, Roderick struck his sword into the tree trunk, but barely managed to leave a dent on the crust. The sword is not meant to slash and much less kill, correct? Yeah, I suppose so. That's why it's for trading. Indeed. Roderick took a deep breath and then looked at the tree again. For a second there, his eyes had a certain glint to them. But before I could comment on that, the wooden sword was halfway deep into the tree trunk. My mouth fell agape at the showcase of raw strength and power. It made me wonder if he could do this with a mere wooden sword, then how much damage he could do with a real one. He could probably chop the entire tree with a single swing. And that's the real potential of the physical mana. If you imbue your weapon while at the same time enhancing your own abilities, well, you can see for yourself. It's incredible. For the first time I saw Roderick pleased with himself. Was he enjoying showing off to me? That's new. Captain. One of the soldiers that were training nearby approached immediately, changing Roderick's expression. We are done with the drills and exercises. We await new orders. Very well. Roderick said as he turned to face me. Go find another place in that, Rod. We'll speak later. With that, the wolf left me alone as he walked towards the trainees. As the wolf walked away, I took a glance at the sword stuck to the tree I would have never thought that something like this could be possible. The knight really was an impressive fella. So strong, so manly, so big. Then his memories of his scent came once back at me. I started to think about what other attributes could be enhanced. Before the tear in my pants was too noticeable, though, I took off and headed towards the bathroom. I needed a cold shower ASAP. Once that was Roderick, and he has a point about the way Ellie behaves. He really needs more self-confidence. He keeps selling himself short, and it frustrates Roderick. And that if he wants others to respect him, he has to respect himself first. So, Ellie really needs to believe in himself more. I think if he does, then he'll get better instead of just thinking he's nothing or lesser than others. And that's why I've been seeing him throughout the story. So a lot of good lessons from Roderick, a lot of good advice, and I mean, he seems like the type of guy who would have no problem talking shit and downing you, but we get to know him more. He really is the type of person that wants you to try harder and wants you to believe in yourself. Honestly, I would feel really guilty if I didn't continue with the investigation at this point. I'm so close I can almost taste the truth. Besides, I've lost 10 years of her life already. I don't know if I can give myself the liberty to waste any more time. And the library did sound like a good idea to gather information. Maybe I'll even find something about the apostle. It's a long shot, but it can't hurt to try, right? So with nothing left to plan, I stood up from the bench and then headed towards the castle's gates. Hopefully I won't get lost. Although the higher city is still unknown to me, so perhaps I should ask a guard to point me in the right direction. The day will never come when I'm not impressed by the scenery. Row after row of books, perfectly aligned and organized in massive cells that reach all the way to the ceiling. Those same books flying around as if they were birds in their natural habitat. And the relaxing sound of occasional page flipping resonates loudly throughout the empty halls of the building. It was magical in its own way. I returned my gaze to the pile of books still ahead of me, waiting to be read. Then my attention shifted to the girl by the front desk. The attendant was sitting just a few feet away from my table, reading a book while drinking some hot tea. As she noticed me staring, she waved her hand and offered me a sweet smile. I was quite lucky to run into her, and she kindly helped me search for the books I was looking for. Without her, I wouldn't have been able to find even a single one of them. All that after I would explain who I was, of course, and the library was not open for everyone. Still, the fact that she offered to help me with the whole ritual thing was more than kind enough. It was my second time seeing it, but it remained just as impressive. In any case, I decided not to dilly-dally for longer in my thoughts and returned to my reading. I was currently inquiring about the church's history in making, but it was honestly taking me nowhere. I pretty much knew or heard about all of it already. So at that point, after 5 hours of reading, I felt like I was wasting my time. Goddesses, my head can't take it anymore. I leaned back on the chair, sighing deeply as I closed my eyes, trying to relax myself. I could easily hear the bones in my back snapping as I've been sitting here for far longer than I should. What made this even more frustrating, though, was the fact that there was not a single mention of the apostle, the purple eyes, or the involvement of the church in any sort of shady business. So they either cover their tracks masterfully, or they indeed have nothing to hide. But that can't be true. It just can't. It's just a gut feeling, but I'm sure of it. They're hiding something. Soon, a flashback of that time came back to me. The fire, the glint of the dagger, the taste of blood, the look of her face. I trembled at the thought of my own memories. I tried to repress them as much as I could, but in times like these, when boredom and stress piled on, my brain just bombarded me with them. I was not expecting any visitors. A cranky unknown voice whispered those creepy words behind my ear, making me lose balance and hit my head to the floor as I fell from my chair. It hissed the pain and held the point of impact with both my hands. Then I looked up and saw the laughing face of Achilles, who was just standing there with a few books in his arms. What the fuck was that? Keep your voice down, please. You're at a library. You know, as his sister scolded us, Achilles' grin never vanished as he walked to the other end of the table and placed those books down. I, on the other hand, stood up from the floor and picked up the chair that had fallen with me. Also, you're not supposed to walk the chairs in the library. Consider that a lesson. Screw you, man. That hurt like hell. Well deserved. Anyway, what are you doing here? I would expect you to be anywhere but here. Well, I wanted to read a little about, investigation. I pointed towards the books I was reading in hopes that he would understand what I meant. After all, he was the one that helped me with it previously. I see, sorry to disturb you. No, it's okay. Aside from some head trauma, your presence is more than welcome. Nicholas's cheeks turned a little red as I said that, but he quickly hid his face behind a book. Only his eyes poked out and they were curiously looking at me. I needed someone to talk to. Nicholas was normally a very level-headed person, so I figured I could talk to him about some of the problems that were eating me up. Maybe that'll help me relax. So, what do you wish to discuss? Well, there's something that's been bugging me for the past few months. It's been getting even worse in the last few days. I don't know what to do. You see, I've been getting these vivid nightmares lately. I didn't want to bring it up before because I thought it was due to stress, but it's getting out of hand. I can't even get a good night's sleep anymore. Nightmares, to say. And Carlos pressed his hand against his chin and then looked to the side, probably trying to sort out his thoughts. Your first hypothesis was not entirely wrong. Nightmares usually occur due to traumatic experiences and stress. Dreams are often related to the reinforcement of neural connections. This means if your brain believes you are in danger, that will be represented in your dreams as a way of self-defense. In other words, your brain is training you for the worst when you sleep. You consider yourself to be in great peril? I don't think so. At least not right now. That's so. If we analyze the content of the dream, we can come up with a hypothesis. What have you been dreaming about? I felt a little nervous at the time, as I didn't want him to think I was insane, but I really needed the opinion of a professional. I couldn't go on like this. It was turning me crazy. So, in my dreams, I'm floating in this big pool of darkness. I'm surrounded by it, and even if it had no body, I can still feel how it has a hold of me. I can't move and I can't scream. As I've said, I'm just a conscious floating in nothingness. Then I'll start hearing whispers. Voices that infiltrate my thoughts and I can do nothing to stop them. Eventually this thing shows up. It talks to me usually to say negative comments though. Then as it's about to get me, I wake up. The color sat quietly throughout my whole explanation, his eyes fixed in mine as he was analyzing every word that came out of my mouth. I see. Very frightening indeed. Give me a moment. I remember reading about this somewhere. Let me see if I can remember the title correctly. He kind of stood up from his chair and then walked to the center of the table where that weird symbol was. He placed his hand on top of it and performed the familiar ritual. Moments later, a single book came flying and landed perfectly in his hands. Let's see. Teeth falling. Snakes. Naked in public. I told an alcoholic's cheeks went red immediately. He was so cute. I loved that part of him. Here. Being unable to move. This type of dream, where immobility takes over our movements, is rooted in the fear of making momentous decisions. Viewers of facing crucial situations manifest themselves in paralysis as they stress alert in the face of pending decisions. Does that make any sense to you in your current situation? Yeah, it's actually kind of uncanny how accurate that is. I told you dreams train you for the worst. So this dream is probably your brain telling you that a decision needs to be done. Once you do, I believe you will be able to relax. The dream will go away on its own. Thanks, man. No problem. I'm glad I could help. By the way, I'm not supposed to be telling this to anyone, but I dragged my chair closer to the wolf to the point where I was sitting mere inches from him. Then I whispered to his ear. The king asked me to be the prince's royal advisor. What? And Collins raised his voice in a moment of astonishment, making the lady from the counter give us the dead eye. And Collins' cheeks turned a little red in return, but then he leaned closer and whispered to me, "Is this a joke?" Trust me, I wish it were, but this is real, man. He wants me to take the position for a few months before the prince is crowned as the next king. Have until the end of the week to make a decision. That's madness. What's the king thinking? I know, right? That's what we said, but he didn't listen. Well, maybe he's got a plan. And Colors tried to encourage me with a smile, but he was really nervous as well, so it didn't work out pretty well. The king is a very wise man, so perhaps this follows within his calculations. And for your sake, let's hope it does. What do you mean? Yeah, this is serious. Probably more serious than what you give him credit for. The king's advisor is the second most important position in all the kingdom. Anything could happen. It kind of freaking me out, man. Stop it. I'm sorry, it wasn't my intention. The wolf looked down, a little embarrassed, a little ashamed of himself. Wow, I really appreciated his concern. Him freaking out wasn't helping any of this. Can you tell me at least a little about what it means to be a royal advisor? Of course, at least I can help with that. He adjusted himself, hence returning to calm mode. So as I've said, it's a really important position. Usually the heir chooses his own advisor, but soon the king wants to force the role into you. You'll be in charge of making very important decisions, such as passing laws punishing major criminals, dealing with external and internal affairs, among other things. King Brandon makes the final call, of course, but a good king always listens to his advisor. That's why it is well known for royalty to pick their closest friends for the position. But I barely know Prince Brandon. Indeed. He's the current royal advisor. Oh, that would be Lord William Mauna when from the Mauna dynasty. They ruled over the land of Cantropia up north. He and Ken Aurelius have known each other since they were kids. So he's also pretty old, huh? Yes, they're close in age. Is there anything else you would like to know? How about your opinion? You think I should do it? Well, whatever you choose, it will not be easy. Even after the position, you will no longer have a title unless Prince Brandon decides to rename you as his retainer. So I'll probably be thrown out in the castle. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. For you and the rest of the retainer's sakes. Yeah, of course. You guys are in the meat grinder too. And Kyler sighed deeply as he offered me an apologetic smile. On the other hand, if you decide to become the advisor, you'll be thrown to the wolves. Both literally and metaphorically. This means I'm screwed either way. Well, I certainly don't envy your position, but it could be a lot worse. Think about it. You've been given the chance to influence the opinion of the most important figure of the entire kingdom. I wouldn't take it lightly. My advice, think about it thoroughly. Okay, thanks, man. No problem. I'm glad I could help. At least with knowledge. So, I'm not sure you know, but the princess is getting married. Yes, I heard the rumors. Certainly shocking, isn't it? Tell me about it. I met with her that night. She seemed pretty upset. She's probably distressed. Sadly, she has no say in this. It's customary for the princesses of the royal family to be wed to important husbands. That way they can make strategic connections with other families and so strengthen the crown. It's their duty, so to speak. That's bullshit. They should be able to make their decision for themselves. The fact that they're forcing them is just awful. After that, we both remained quiet. I could feel the tension building up between us. We were clearly both displeased with this one in some way. Talking about it wasn't going to change anything though, so I guess we decided to move on from that topic. Oh, by the way, I've been pondering about magic lately. After the first class, we haven't talked much about it. Besides the presentation at the King's Ball got me thinking. How does elemental magic really work? I mean, even a rock can do it, apparently. Why can't I? And don't feel bad, the rock is a technological discovery in the century. You are untrained. But you tried to train me and it didn't work. Maybe we should try again some other time, but now I feel like an explanation is necessary. Besides, a rock can't do magic, Ellie. A scholar programmed that rock to do magic. There's no difference. But there's a difference. Achilles grazed my shoulder with his hand, but immediately took it away as the cheeks turned a little red. Alright, I'm listening. The wolf smiled and wagged his tail at me as he tends to do when he explains things. He's just a big, softy nerd who likes to hear himself talk. To be honest, I really like that side of him. So as I explained before, we are all born with different eye colors. Each from a different type of quim use, correct? So blue-eyed people are born with the innate ability to understand and see the natural flow of mana outside of themselves. What I'm trying to say is people like me have an easier time understanding the world around us. Even a kid can create a small fire if it tries hard enough. And that's why elemental magic is considered the most basic type of magic. That's why it's widely used for most researchers. It's very easy to learn and it has many practical applications. But what exactly do you control? Well, take for example the book system in this library. As you focus your senses on guide the creme, the book seems to float, but it's not really floating, it's just its mana being altered. Another example would be the creme present in the air itself. If I make it go faster and faster, the particles will soon turn into a flame. It's incredible, but it certainly has some sort of limitation, right? Only limitation would be organic matter. Blue-eyed people can not affect any type of animal or plant. And Carlos seemed content with his explanation as he leaned on his chair and crossed his arms. I, on the other hand, still have one last question I wanted to ask. So what if I accidentally started a fire? Can I stop it with magic too? A good magician wouldn't let the fire out of his control in the first place. But if they must, they could just slow down the creme around the fire or move away all the oxygen surrounding it. It would go down by itself that way, although it would certainly be harder to perform. I see. Of course, that idiot wouldn't be able to do such a thing. He could hardly put two and two together. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I was just lost in thought. I nervously responded and tried to brush it off. Nicholas was looking at me as I would decide to start a fire at any given second. Although, thinking about it is a fair assumption given my old record. I noticed that I didn't want to talk about it and question me no further. Well, I'll still get going. I'm still on the clock. There's a lot to do. Thank you for the diversion, though. No problem. Thank you for listening. Wolf nodded at that and then rose from his chair. He put it in place before waving back at me. Then he turned around and walked away into the endless library halls. As Nicholas's presence vanished, my mind started to wander around everything we talked about. A single sigh escaped my mouth as I decided to stop the investigation for the day. There was no real use in reading any more of these books after all. I'll have to find my sources somewhere else. Okay, so the white color for the letters here, like we see like a lighter colored background. Like the background is like yellow or almost white. It kind of gets confusing for me. Like I keep confusing a word for another. So that's kind of confuses me something, like the white font. But anyway, the white color of the letters. But anyway, man, that took way longer than I expected, but I'm glad it's finally out. I mean, I really liked how it all turned out, even though it took me one month more than I expected. Sorry about that. But how about you? Liking the story so far? I really hope so. We're getting to a point of no return in our characters' lives, so I hope you're ready for that. Although for now, you better enjoy the calm before the storm. See what I did there? Never mind. It was a terrible pun. As jokes aside, this update would have been impossible to pull off without the help of a very talented friend of mine, Zed. If you're reading this, thanks a lot, man. I mean it. I suck at coding and you helped me a lot. Also, big thanks to Kenu. He's been putting on a lot of work to create this beautiful, the beautiful CGs and backgrounds you've seen in the latest updates. You're the GOAT. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now. Don't forget that I can continue working on this project thanks to my Patreon support. You guys are amazing. So if you like what you saw, feel free to support me there. Or if you want, go tell me your opinion on either the VN Discord or my personal Twitter. I'm more than glad to read you all up, and you are more than welcome to become part of our community. Also, a small reminder that I'm constantly uploading new juicy and unique content on my Patreon, so maybe that is an even bigger incentive to support. In any case, I hope that y'all enjoyed it. See y'all in the next update. Bye-bye. Alright, so that was Icarus' part there. So he's kind of helpful with the dream, but there really wasn't anything he could do with the princess or the advisor role. Thunderstorms around here right now. Anyway, there's really nothing he could do with the advisor role or the princess, but he did help with the dreams for Ellie. So the king, back in the first part, the king believes that the goddesses have sent Ellie for some reason, and I think that's the reason why he appointed Ellie, well, he wants to appoint Ellie as King Brandon's advisor. Well, Prince Brandon. Anyway, I hope the decision the king makes doesn't get Ellie in too much trouble, because the theme of this update is like the calm before the storm. So something serious is going to happen either in the next update or maybe like in the update after that, but something serious and big is going to happen soon. And it's going to be life-changing for Ellie and the characters. So, what do you think? What do you thought of all the parts for Roderick and for Almond and Roderick and Icarus? Let me know in the comments. So, thank you all very much for watching.